All right, so I've been driving this right here for the past couple months while my Model Y has been in the shop. This is a 2022 Tesla Model 3. So if you're looking at purchasing a Model 3 versus a Model Y, I'm gonna go through with you guys coming from a Model Y as a Model Y owner. Now this is a 2022 and my Model Y is also a 2022. So when it comes down to style of the cars actually look very similar. Now there is a new refreshed Model 3, so it is a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But comparing this one with the Model Y as far as the same year goes, luckily enough, Tesla has basically used a lot of these same components on both cars. I believe it's around 70% of the Model 3 components are also used on the Model Y. Aesthetics, interior, a lot of that stuff will look very much the same. Now, besides the interior design and the trim type, let's get into probably the most obvious thing. This is a four-door sedan. The Model 3 is a four-door sedan. The Model Y is a bigger car. It is considered a four-door SUV. The space between the Model 3 and the Model Y is a big difference. One thing that you notice when you jump into a Model 3 after driving a Model Y, you sit a lot lower to the ground, which means you kind of get a little bit more sportier of a feel when you're driving the Model 3. I feel like on the Model Y, because you are sitting up, the car is a little bit taller, you're sitting up and you feel like you have just a little bit better peripherals around the car versus it being lower on the Model 3. The one thing I did notice on the Model 3 when I was getting in and out is the first few times I got in, I would actually hit my head on this because it does sit a little bit lower, car's lower, so you do have to kind of go in reverse. I'm only 5'10", so if you are taller, the Model Y feels like it'll be a little bit easier to get in and out because the car sits up a little bit more. Again, for me, storage is a big deal. So when I went from the Model Y to the Model 3, I did notice there is a lot less room on the Model 3 because you have this right here, which is more of a lid style trunk, versus the Model Y has the hatchback where the entire glass and everything will come up. It gives you a lot more room on the Model Y for you to bring in any large objects into the trunk, where here you're pretty much limited with this space on the back. For me, having kids and always packing a ton of stuff in here, I'm a big hatchback fan because of the fact that you have such a larger opening. We like to throw a bunch of gear in the back, coolers and things like that. Now, like I mentioned, I have 3 kids and I do normally have a car seat here on the back. Model Y, you have so much more room in the rear. Now, if you don't have to deal with car seats, it might be okay, but once you put a car seat in there, it really takes up a lot of room. My other kids kind of have to move over and kind of fit in a smaller center area, and the other seat, I have to get the seatbelt extenders just to make things a little bit more comfortable. So when it comes down to that space, for me, between the Model 3 and the Model Y just wins hands down. A lot more comfortable space for the kids, a lot more foot room, and that was something I could definitely feel with my little one right behind me. I feel him kicking a lot more of the rear seat on the Model 3 versus the Model Y. Now, when it comes down to the frunk actually on the Model 3 feels a little bit wider. I had my kid stand up in here and kind of crouch in the frunk on both of the cars, and they are very similar. So not that much of a difference with the frunk, but the rear trunk, the lid compared to the hatchback, that is a day and night difference when it comes down to storage. Now, Tesla just released the new version, the refreshed Model 3. I believe they're calling it the Model 3 Plus here in North America, which is really cool. You're gonna get a ton of new features, a lot of new upgrades compared to this model here. You're gonna get a rear screen, heated seats, heated and cooled seats, a bunch of new things that are on the refresh or the Model 3 Plus version compared to this one right here. Now, the new Model 3 Plus or Model 3 Refresh is actually only starting at $39,000 compared to the baseline Model Y, which starts at $44,000. In my opinion, if you have little kids, especially ones that have to sit in a car seat, I would highly suggest moving up to the Model Y for the added rear space, as well as the ability to have that hatchback. That space in the trunk is definitely utilized on my car. The one thing I do like about the Model 3 though, is that when I'm driving either with one kid or just me and my wife, it does feel nice, sporty, smaller, compact. And then I just want to go through some of those main things that I noticed after driving the Model 3 for a couple months. The space is a lot bigger in that Model Y, and having multiple kids, needing that trunk room, I definitely liked driving the Model 3, but I am extremely happy that my larger Model Y is back home. If you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.